Welcome to Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous with Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo. I really don't know where all my time goes. I know I work a lot. I work close to 50 hours a week. I get home and I'm zonked. I've been giving it my all lately, and I just keep making excuses as to why I can't do the show. Not to you all, but to myself. One thing that's not an excuse is many nights I come home, sit down in front of the computer, and actually fall asleep in the chair and wake up maybe about 15-20 minutes later and go, oh, I can't stream or I can't do a video today. But then there's the other piece, the other part of me, that personality piece that has to go for perfection. So I convinced myself I needed to have a computer upgrade, and I went out and upgraded my computer. Some of you are going to say I downgraded it, but to me, it's all fresh and new, and I have the same case that I had before, which was the Corsair Crystal 470X. But I replaced the motherboard and processor, which was I think it was an Asus Hero 9. I think that was it, or Hero 8 or Hero 9. And I had a 7700K, 16 gigs of Dominator RAM. And I replaced that. Now that went back into my old case. My old case had a AMD, and it was an FX 9370. Yes, I know, I should have gotten rid of that a long time ago, but I needed to have a backup computer. And now my backup computer is pretty killer by itself. It's a 7700K with a 970 and 16 gigs of Dominator RAM. Well, what did I do? I upgraded my computer to a 3700X and 32 gigs of RAM and kept the 2080 that I've had in there for a year. So I had my computer. Everything was beautiful. I think I talked about my computer on the last episode. And then I decided that I wanted to build a second computer, a better second computer, something that could go next to my main computer. And I paid off a lot of debt and then gave myself a gift. And that gift got built inside of Corsair's 280X Crystal Series case. Well, what did I put in that? Well, I put a micro ATX board from ASRock in there. Not the best board, but the only micro ATX that has the X570 chipset. Now, I could have gone with a B450. I could have gone with an X470. But all the reviews of those seemed to be poor. That they all had four-phase... I don't even know what the phases are, to be honest with you. But they had four-phase... whatever you want to call it. It was the electronics on the board weren't strong enough for the 3700. They probably were, but I had to listen to a bunch of podcasts and a bunch of YouTube videos, and I went with the X570. I think it's a M Pro, X570 M Pro by ASRock. I put a 3600X in that box, 32 gigs of RAM. I put the Intel instead of the Samsung 970 Pro inside of that box. So here I am essentially with two amazing boxes. They're not the top end, they're not the bottom end. They're a little bit beyond recommended settings. Well, when I finished that, I looked around and my Yeti broke. Just when I wanted to go back to doing my videos, my Yeti broke. Now, my Yeti broke the same way that many people's Yetis have been breaking forever. The USB port pretty much just died. First, I had the telltale sign that it was going. And that was my Yeti started to show me that it wasn't a Yeti anymore. It was an advanced USB microphone. Well, that went on for about a month. And then it happened. It happened on a very warm summer day, close to the beginning of fall. No, it happened last week. And I was like in front of the computer, all set up, all ready, all excited to talk about the brand new computer I'd built, all excited to talk about Star Citizen and my renewed drive for taking care of, my videos and bringing my channel back. And that set me back. Well, I could have just bought a new Yeti, right? That's all I needed to do. But nope, I went out and I bought a interface and an Ember. Now, when I started my podcasting career, it was a very long time ago, and it was with The Addicted Gamer. That was over on, I can't even remember the name of the network that I was part of, but I did quite a number of episodes, and I used to talk to devs out there about both their gaming career and their gaming life, them growing up in gaming. And I started off with a Samsung COU1 and moved up to an AT2020. For some stupid reason, I sold my AT2020 and my Alesis multi-mix board for $100. That was kind of stupid, right? I had an XLR mic, and I went with a Yeti instead. So I took a step down. Well, this time I took a step up, a nice step up. I went with the Blue Ember. And I am going with a Go XLR, it should be here by the end of October. It's the Go XLR Mini. They're having issues with it right now. Everybody's buying it up, and there's none in stock. So I've got to wait for that to come. But for now, I have myself a nice little breakout box. I don't even know what the name of it is. I think it's a Sonnet. And I think it's a Sonnet Focusrite. I think that's what I have. And it's all right. And it only needs to be all right. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to get the job done. So as of yesterday, I have pretty much destroyed every single excuse I could have for doing a video. Except for one. And that's, I want to move my studio out of my bedroom. So I have my roommate giving me the office downstairs. And we have to get through the two of us going down there and trying to sort that out and clean it up. So I'm sitting here going, I just made another excuse and I'm not going to do a video until that's clean. That's just not right. I can't do that. I need to talk about things. I need to talk about what's going on in the Star Citizen world. So I sat down in front of the computer and started to try to remember how to set up my XLR mic and how to make things work. So I did the whole video, and I moved the knobs in the wrong direction, so it clipped really high at a very low rate, very low volume, because I had the gain set way too high and I had the volume set way too low. Well, that was not good. That was the telltale sign that I have not been doing this regular enough, and I deserve to lose some of you all as my viewers. Well, I got all that set up, fixed it, and sat down, and we're here today to start talking. All right, we're 8 minutes into this wonderful video, and we haven't even talked about Star Citizen yet. So, Star Citizen, my addiction to this development project started in August of 2013, a year and a few months after it all began. There's a long pause here for a reason, because I'm just thinking about all the money that I've spent on this game and it's still not out. But I'm still supporting it, and I ask myself that question every day. And then every couple of weeks I get into the game and my jaw drops. I know it's not a game. I know there's a lot of you that are rabid about them calling it a game, about them saying it's playable. But I want to say this. It is kind of buggy, and you can see some of the bugs that I'm having here today if you watch this video closely. Not going to talk about them because I really just want to talk about where I'm going right now. Like, I started this last month. Like, where are we going to go to? So I'll jump in, my jaw will drop, and I'll renew that love for the game. I'll play for a few hours, get to a bunch of bugs, and pull out for, well, hopefully until the next patch comes out. In the beginning, the patches came out infrequently. So you wound up playing a lot of Check My Ride over in my hangar. In other words, spawning your ship, going through it, sitting around on it, taking pictures of it, and looking at it, and just imagine flying it. So the patches in the beginning came after multiple months went by. And we're talking about 6 months and sometimes 8 or 9 months before you would see a patch. And I think there was at least 1 or 2 times when it was a year. It was forever. You would look at the same stuff in your hangar, running around the AeroView hangar, running around the business hangar, running around the deluxe hangar. That's how far back I can go. And at some point they gave us the buggies, and they gave us an obstacle course, at least for us to be able to try to do something in the game. Time went by, and CIG made a promise to us. They promised that they would be sticking to a different development process. Instead of making things time-based, or content-based, they were going to go to a quarterly update, which was almost what they needed to do. The quarterly update they promised us it didn't really materialize the way that we thought it would. We thought that they were going to come out with a update on that day no matter what. But what happened was, like any other development project, there were bugs. Now, it is true that CIG would take some of the items out and move them into a different patch. So say 3.4 was coming out and there was a location or a different type of service going on that didn't work, they would just pull it out and move it over. But if it was something they really wanted everyone to see, like last patch, the Origin JumpWorks 890, they actually held the patch up. And then they split the patch into an iterative patch. And then they delayed that one and pushed it back to a second patch. And before long, 8.7 got pushed back because they were playing the game of being time-based, but still being content-based. That was very annoying to me because the whole content-based patches was supposed to give us progress. And yes, I'm okay when they move things out of a patch and into another patch, as long as they stick to their guns on coming out with something at the beginning of every quarter. So here we are, October 2nd, going on October 3rd, and there's nothing in sight. But they are about ready to ask us to fork over some more dough to buy another ship. This time, a playable ship that will be in 3.7. So who here is angry, upset, disappointed, disgusted, feels rejected, feels betrayed by the way that CIG is introducing the Mantis? It's weird. I had a conversation about this with a friend of mine, and he had totally a reaction I didn't expect him to have, and one that was opposite of mine at the time. And after hearing his reasoning for why he felt the way he did, I actually changed my mind. And that was that here we are, we're the supporters, and we're the ones that are around all the time. We subscribe, we gave our money, and they announce a ship in Newsweek to people that probably aren't going to buy that ship, to people that probably aren't going to care. Maybe they're trying to drum up new hype, new people to come over and see the game, which I could agree with. I understand marketing. But they didn't give us an opportunity to hear about the ship, get a more in-depth look at it, get a more in-depth explanation about it, outside of that Newsweek article. In fact, there's still, as of the last time I looked, no real information on the RSI Mantis on the RSI site. Maybe that will be coming closer to 3.7. For the last topic of today's episode, I'd like to talk about the birthday celebration that CIG is going to be having over on Cloud Imperium Games' website, robertspaceindustries.com. There's a ship showdown going on, and it started about 3 weeks ago. Cloud Imperium Games asked backers to go and pretty much drum up support for their number one ship, and the top 16 ships were then picked. For the last 8 days, those 16 ships have been competing head-to-head for your votes over on the website. Now, here's where I have a little bit of an issue, but I think that issue is with me because when this gets down to the Final Four, nothing I own is going to be in that Final Four. Let's take a look at the bracket and let me see if I could explain just a little bit more here. All right, in day one, CIG matched the Cutlass Black against the 300i. Now, I am sure that CIG is just doing a typical bracket here, where first place is competing against 16th place, and so on until you get to the middle of the pack. So this was kind of unfair because they don't even carry out the same mission. But I think the right ship won because for playable ships, I could get a lot more done inside of a Cutlass Black than I would in a 300i. In day two, the Constellation Aquila went against the Freelancer Max. Now, the Fat Lancer, as I like to call it, and I guess many other people do, is a pretty ship, but in most ways, the Aquila can do more. And I wonder if that's why it actually beat it out. Putting the Gladius against the Titan. Now, the Gladius is one of my favorite spaceships of all time in any game. I love to play the Gladius. And to see it go down to the Titan, I have to say, it hurts me a little bit, but I understand why. Again, it has to do with usefulness, and I think there's just a following of the Penguin that people just like it. And I think for many people, that was their first ship. The 600i against a Caterpillar, to me, again, it comes down to usefulness. And it also comes down to all the design mistakes that I feel the 600i Explorer has. Specifically, all the way in the back, that crew compartment and that rear entertainment area. I hope they, at some point, look at that and decide to do some kind of a rework. Here's one that shocked me. Now, I understand the 890 jump being $800+ is something that is not going to have a lot of people as owners. But I think we all know somebody with an 890 jump, and after I did my walkthrough on that, I'm pretty psyched about that spaceship. That is a gorgeous ship. But the Dragonfly won. Now, I know that there are amazing races with the Dragonfly, and I know that there's so much more gameplay with the Dragonfly, so I could understand why it won. But it kind of hurts me a little bit to not see something as beautiful as the 890 jump winning, even though I'm not somebody that owns one. This next one was a little bit hard for me because the Valkyrie going against the Reclaimer are two ships that have very little to do in the game at this point. It is true that they're flyable, but you're not going to carry cargo on the Reclaimer, and the Valkyrie, I just think the Valkyrie was a miss. And although I have one and I absolutely love playing with it, especially when you take a friend up and you practice driving your buggies out the back, which is pretty fun. Cyclone falling out of that unit, hitting the ground and just taking off, that is amazing. I had a real lot of fun doing that with one of my friends. But neither one of these really have a role, and I guess this one would have been hard for me to choose. I probably would have picked the Valkyrie because it at least could land in more locations and carry a small amount of cargo. The Hammerhead against the Retaliator. Again, two ships that really don't have a lot to do. The Hammerhead could carry a ton of cargo right now. The Retaliator can't carry any, and really the torpedoes just don't hit as well as they should. Today we have the Vanguard Warden versus the Freelancer MIS. This is a battle of two long-range fighters, or long-range attack spacecraft. Now, I put the edge on the MIS because that's the one I own, and it's ugly as sin, but I really do give the edge to the MIS because you always have cargo space to put things. I am a lover of a good Vanguard. To me, the Vanguard is something that I feel is closest to the B-25 or B-26 from World War II, and I really, 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 really like that spacecraft, and I think it's going to be in my hangar at some point, but I'm probably going to be somebody that buys it later and not somebody that buys it up front. Wow. Well, that's it for the showdown. I don't know where it's going to go. What I do know is that the final four are going to have some kind of special flair or maybe a special skin. Anyway, CIG said something special was coming to the final four ships. I'm not excited by this, but I am intrigued by it, and it is a good distraction. I can say that. Well, I am back. I have no more excuses. I have done everything I can to keep myself from doing my show in the past few months. But now that I have my two computers, my brand new microphone, my interface, and so much more coming over the next few weeks, and a studio in the works, hopefully that will be built before you could blink your eye 100 million times, it looks like I'll be around. And let me tell you this isn't the only video I have in the pipeline. Yes, I'm coming back and doing a number of videos over the next few days. Plus, I hope you join me over on twitch.tv/Star Citizen AA. I hope to be streaming later tonight. Today is Wednesday. And then maybe we can start brainstorming a couple of contests that I could have for those of you that have been so kind as to keep watching me, even though I've been putting out garbage for the last year. Thank you very much, everybody. I really do appreciate you sticking with me. All right, you know what to do. I don't want to beg for the thumbs up because I think I deserved a thumbs down for some time. But if you do subscribe, please think about clicking that notification icon so you do get notified of all my future videos. And I can't wait to see you again later this week. And with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.